So it's 2025 and you feel like you've either hit a plateau or you don't know where to begin, or you're just feeling frustrated because progress isn't happening the way you want it to. So, how do you start a diet and exercise training program to lose weight? Now, this morning I actually searched fitness on Instagram Reels to try and just get an idea of what I should make. And it's really not a surprise that so many people feel overwhelmed or that most fitness advice is unrealistic because, like, the first 10 were either some woman with a fake butt and her leggings scrunched up her butt cheeks running on the treadmill or doing some glute exercise that didn't actually work, or it was a dude on steroids who is trying to tell people how to lift. And it's no wonder everybody feels like all this advice is unrealistic. Where I would begin, let's go over mindset, the diet itself, and then exercise around it. So, the reason I want to start with mindset is because diet is incredibly ingrained to who we are as humans. Looking back evolutionarily, this is where we shared time with loved ones. We celebrate with food. We grieve with food. And anytime we're stressed, we have this incredible urge to eat. And it makes sense because for most of human history, food was not as available as it is now. And there are places in the world that food is not available as it is where I am in Texas. We'll just say that. And what I want to bring up is that you really have to understand that there are a lot of social pressures to you gaining weight, whether that's from external sources. So you drive down the street and you see 20 advertisements for food. You go to a friend's house for a Super Bowl party, which is happening today, the day that I'm filming this. Or, internal, right? We are social creatures. So we feel this pressure to eat with people, to eat the things that culturally people want to eat. But I think people understand that, or at least I think you do. When we are embarking on this journey to lose weight, we have to train our brains to want this new change because it's going to feel like a part of you is dying, and it doesn't have to be that way, and we can get into the diet itself. But in reality, we're humans, we have preferences, we like certain things. And the biggest mistake you can make is that you go from eating a traditional American diet to cutting everything out, only eating chicken, broccoli, and rice. And the reason that is a big problem is because you're not going to eat like that forever. It's actually better for you to learn how to manage the things you like. For some people, that might be not purchasing things in the first place, or having, like, mine and my wife's personal favorite thing to do is, like, if we are going to really make a big push to lose fat and we still like ice creams, either we share the dessert, that's the rule, or you buy single servings. And that can help you stop and reassess if you want to get another one, which you can if it fits in your calories, but it kind of causes these pauses. And the final thing that I want to say on mindset is it's gonna be stressful because it's new. It's gonna take some mental work. You're probably busy with work, or you have a family, or this is new and you have to learn new skills, and you have to understand that it's not going to be easy, but that's why it's worth it, because you want something new, and there's going to be resistance, and that's okay. You're going to be better because of the resistance. It's not a bug, it's a feature of this process that you want to take on. You want to be the person that can do hard things, and that's okay. So just understand that these changes are going to be uncomfortable at first, and you want to take that on. That's why you're doing it. All right, so the diet itself. In this new era of people thinking that food has additives in it that are blocking hormones, or seed oils are clogging testicles and ovaries, causing problems, it's just ridiculous. The big thing that I really want you to understand as we dive into this is that there are plenty of studies that show when people think they're tracking the right amount of calories to lose weight. So like women thinking that they're eating 1,200 calories. Researchers will bring them into the lab, ask them what they're eating, prepare it, and then they end up eating like 2,400 calories. There's other studies that they'll actually prepare food for people that say hormones are causing them to not lose weight. The participants eat exactly what the researchers have them on, and lo and behold, they actually lose weight. And the reason is calories are king. Are some people going to have different calorie amounts that are going to work for them? Absolutely. Will certain hormonal um, problems or maybe some metabolic dysfunction make it harder for you? Absolutely. But ultimately, that doesn't change anything. Just like if somebody has a ridiculously high income, can they spend more and still save money? Absolutely. People with lower incomes, budgeting becomes more important. And that's going to be huge for you to understand that it still matters how much you eat. So whether we have to get really, really low and find things to fit in your calorie amounts, that's what it's going to be. So in any case, let's get to what the number is. For most people, I would say a rough estimate to begin, you can lay down on the floor and do nothing for 24 hours. And I think you can probably assume that you're going to burn about 10 calories per pound you weigh. So for a woman who weighs 130 pounds, she laid down, did nothing, maybe she burned 1,300 calories. It's a good start. 180-pound man, you lay on the ground, do nothing for 24 hours, 1,800 calories. It's a good start. Tracking your calories, seeing how your body responds to those calories for 2 weeks is ultimately going to be the best thing you can do. There's a 3,500 calorie rule. So if you were to be in a 3,500 calorie deficit over any given amount of time, you'd lose about a pound. Most people like to do 3,500 divided by 7. That gives you 500 calorie deficit per day. So the 7 being 7 days in a week, you'll lose about a pound a week. I think this is a great start. Now there are apps out there that can help you with this. I personally use Macro Factor. I get nothing from it. They don't even know I exist. This is an app that helps you track weight and your calories consumed, and then it calculates what your energy expenditure is. It makes things really easy. The interface is great. Try it out. I get no codes. You can search one to get 20% off, whatever. I like it because it tells me how much I'm burning, and I can make decisions based off of that. Now, some people want to get more aggressive. It is easier to be a little more aggressive when you weigh more or have more body fat. And the leaner you are, it does make it more difficult because you're going to tap into energy stores that are probably not as readily available. Because body fat is literally energy storage just waiting to be burned. Versus carbohydrates inside your muscles, they're there to be burned for short periods of time, but your body monitors these well and they want to be replenished quickly. So with that being said, how fast should you lose is up to you and your goals. Now, if physique is the only thing you care about and you want to lose body weight fast and you're really trying to cut down, you can do it up to 2 pounds per week. Just know that the faster you go, the shittier you're going to feel. The slower you go, the better you're going to feel, but it's going to feel like it's going to take forever. So you want to find a goal that feels manageable, but it excites you. I do find that some people cannot handle when the scale goes up and down, and it feels like it's just ticking downward. Ultimately, your performance is going to be better. It's probably easier to build muscle in this slight of a deficit. But it can be mind-numbing when you see 1 pound up, 2 pounds down, 3/4 of a pound up, a pound down, and just going up and down, up and down. The scale is going to ultimately be your best friend and worst enemy here. Just know that even if you're building muscle at a pretty fast rate, you still want to see the scale go down because very, very few people are building so much muscle that it's gonna net uh, zero the scale, unless they're on steroids or something. Because ultimately, you should be. No one is gaining a pound of muscle a week if you're losing a pound of fat a week, and I think that's probably a good. That's probably about where people would want to lose weight. And also, if you're training really hard, you're not going to be building that much muscle. Um, let's talk about macronutrients versus micronutrients. So, macronutrients, I would say the easiest way to do it for protein is 1 gram per pound you weigh. I really like this reference point. Some people are going to be lower, some people are going to be higher. Now, here's the hot take. If you eat an American diet, you probably already eat roughly 1 gram per pound of protein a day already, because most American diets are high in protein. For breakfast, you're gonna eat some form of egg sandwich and drink milk. Unless you're going to a gas station eating honey buns and a freaking tornado, which you might be, you're probably making up for it with a ton of protein at dinner. Where people run into this struggle is when they change things. When they start eating healthy, yeah, eating nothing but chicken breasts and beef jerky and protein shakes does make it really hard. But ultimately, you want to change your diet as little as possible and get the calories in. Personally, I don't find it too difficult when I'm consuming like one protein shake a day, because I try to eat things that taste good. So, like if I have a chicken burrito with a whole wheat tortilla and it's filled with rice, like protein doesn't become a problem for me, because I'm not going to where my food is so bland I can't continue eating. On the flip side, you do want to eat leaner cuts of protein when you're dieting for calorie reasons. So I would say you want to find protein that tastes good enough that you hit your protein goals, but not too good that it has fat in it. So an example would be like, if you like red meat, you would eat like a sirloin, or a lean cut of steak. You want to avoid ribeyes and briskets, because the meat quality is probably fine. It's just that it's going to come with a ton of extra calories in the form of fat. Uh, because you're watching this and the title is going to say something about beginners or intermediates in weight loss, I really don't think you should be worrying about carbs and fats all that much. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube makes you believe that worrying about each one of these macronutrients matters all that much. I would say, so even at my level of performance for how much I'm training, I really let my carbs and fats fall where they may. Some people do better with higher carbs, some people do better with higher fat. But I would say most of the people I run into don't know, because they're so disconnected from tracking their food that they assume that they're good on one and not the other. But until they really dial it in, there's not much you need to worry about. So for most people, I would start with calories and protein and let your food preferences dictate how many carbs and how many fats you're consuming a day. Now, the basics of exercise. I fell into this trap thinking that exercise does not actually help you with weight loss, and I could not have been more wrong. Now, in the short term, that is true. For most people trying to eat back their calories or look at their watch, which is inaccurate, you're probably not burning a whole lot of calories from exercise that contributes to weight loss, because it might be like 100, 200 calories in the short term. But I do think there's probably something physiological. So, yes, your muscle tissue is more metabolically active, meaning it burns more calories than your fat does, but it's minuscule. If you were to lose like, I think it's like 10 kilograms, so 22 pounds of fat, put on 22 pounds of muscle, you might see like 100, 150 calorie difference in a day if you were to just strictly do that over time. Now, for someone, that might be a year, 2 years. which is great. That's a great start. Focus on that, but it's not going to happen overnight. But I do think there are some other effects that do matter that are going to take a year, 2 years, 5 years. So stretching out your time horizon with your exercise does matter. So one, as you exercise more, your liver, kidneys, even your brain are all going to increase capacity to keep up with how much exercise you're doing. Those tissues are very metabolically active, meaning they burn a lot of calories. So we do see athletes burn quite a few more calories than people who are sedentary. So focusing on your output, getting more active, 10, 15,000 steps a day are going to really hone in on these tissues as well. I would say focusing on being generally more active, any type of exercise that you like is going to benefit you. Obviously, strength training is going to put on muscle. It's going to make you look more shapely, especially if you're female. Well, males as well, but females tend to be more weights averse. And I think that's changing. I do think more women are definitely getting more excited about the gym, which is great because you realize that you're not going to accidentally gain 20 pounds just by picking up a dumbbell. If anything, I have to encourage women to still lift heavier most of the time. Um, but doing what you prefer. So, when it comes to weight loss, exercise probably isn't the biggest factor, but it does help over time. In my own personal experience, going from only strength training to now strength and cardio, I do think that people have better outcomes when they do a combination of both. If you're super busy, 3 days of strength training, 3 days of cardio is a great start. If you can get more exercise in, that's your base, add from there. With your weight training, you should be focusing on the areas that you want to have more shape. For men and women, I would start with shoulders and arms. With men, you've got body parts that you want to hit on, and women have different, but the process is the same. You don't lift differently if you want to lose weight, because like I just said, it doesn't burn that many more calories. So you should be trying to build muscle. Using weights to use it as a cardio effect is just a waste of your time. You're just going to feel burnt out, and it's probably not going to help you lose weight. For cardio, most of your training should be done in some form of low intensity steady state, but this is only because it's repeatable, not because it's gonna burn more fat than carbohydrate. There is a fat burning zone, but it's not magic. It's just repeatable. And so what I mean by that, higher intensities of exercise, yes, will burn more carbohydrates than fat. But if you burn the same amount of calories at a higher intensity versus a lower intensity, one, it'll be faster, but two, you're probably going to feel less recovered the next day. So that means you're not going to be able to push again. So when you do these sprints every single day, or these high intensity cardio days, it's hard to go exercise again because you're just going to keep feeling run down over time. So you want to focus on sustainability. Cardio certainly does help quite a bit like I said, in the long run. But you want to make sure that you're not just absolutely cooking yourself every time you do some form of cardio. You want to make sure that you're getting, my recommendation would be 150 to 300 intensity minutes per week. The harder you go, the less of these minutes. The slower you go, which is my recommendation, the higher number of these minutes. But for the most part, just some mix. Finding activities that you generally enjoy doing is going to be the benefit in the first place, and not overcomplicating exercise all that much, and just finding a place to start and enjoy. The biggest thing I would want of all to take away from this is that give yourself time to lose weight. No matter what you do, this is gonna take a long time for you to shift your body composition in the way you want to. For most people, I think a reasonable rate of weight loss for men would be like 30 pounds in a year. For women, it would be like 20 pounds in a year. because you're going to have plateaus, you're going to have stalls, you're going to have birthdays, you're going to have celebrations, you're going to have terrible things happen in that year. And understanding that you're going to give yourself time is probably the best thing to do. What most people fuck up on is that they want it now, and then something comes up that stalls their progress and they just fall off completely. But if you learn ways, something simple like switching your sour cream to Greek yogurt, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous, but it can make profound changes in the long run. So that way, when you're at home, you have control over the things you do. When you travel for work or go out for a celebration, you don't break completely. You just eat, enjoy, and then leave it in the past and just make sustainable change. Give yourself time. Be realistic enough that you understand that you're gonna mess up and you're gonna get back on the horse, but be a little maniacal and excited about making change and seeing the future in your brain. Like, man, I want to look this way, or I want to feel this way without this much weight on me. And just have it in your brain that, yes, right now it's not realistic, but it's exciting. It's a change. It's about balancing being realistic and unrealistic at the same time, to where it excites you, it scares you, but you're still moving forward every time you mess up, every time you make a big jump. Celebrate it. It's an emotional ride. It's supposed to be emotional. That's how you make any change in your life. You have to be committed to the journey. Obviously, you see all the platitudes online. It's cheesy, but it's true. And then just build out the plan logically. So the emotion is the fuel, logic is the car, and let it drive you. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. You can reach out to me. If you like more of this, let me know, because I like talking to cameras, I guess. This was fun.